Hello everyone, this is Glo B. Today I am in Helena, Arkansas, visiting the Delta Dirt Distillery. This is the only black-owned farm-to-bottle distillery in America. They make vodka from sweet potatoes and corn, and they also make gin as well as something they call an Arkansas Brown. Their story is truly amazing. Come along with me on this tour and learn how they came from sharecropping to bootlegging to making platinum-winning vodka. Inside the distillery, getting ready for the tour. Delta Dirt.
Okay, so you guys go all the way to the back. My name is Harvey Williams, and me and my wife are co-founders of this distillery. She was here, but she's okay. Right, so those are our two sons up there, and we have a daughter in the business too. So it's a family business. I will tell you this. I'll show you the full process here, but the story starts where I just came from, which was a farm. About 20 miles from me. So it's my great-grandfather's farmed that land, and never owned it, but he didn't, he farmed it like he owned it. He sharecropped that land his whole life, and my granddad also sharecropped it, but he was able to buy the farm in 1949. I don't know if you guys noticed, in that far left corner over there is a table, and on that table it's got three things that are pretty significant. One is a picture of my granddad, Huey Williams. And a black and white t-shirt. And then the jug that's sitting there, and there's cotton stuck in that jug. So I'll tell you the story about how he bought the farm in 1949. So he picked his cotton just like all sharecroppers do. Part of that, the proceeds of that cotton goes to the landowner. Part of it goes to the farmer who is trying to pay off the land and feed his family. And that year, he took his cotton to a different gin than his landowner's gin and got the market value for the cotton and added the money he was making making moonshine, which is the jug. So I didn't grow up knowing the whole moonshine story. My dad brought that jug in, it was 2018. We were doing construction of this building. And he came in and said, hey, your granddad used to do moonshine. And this is the only evidence we have left of that, which is that jug. And he said that he had the steel was hanging on the pasture fence for a long time, but it must have got sold in scrap metal. I wish he had hung on to it. But that jug and that cotton sticking in that jug is a reminder and kind of a memorial, essentially, that my granddad bought our farm. So that land that he farmed, my granddad farmed, my dad farmed, and my dad in the early 80s converted the farm to a vegetable operation. Because anybody that's around here that does any farming, if you remember in the early 80s, it got really tough on farmers. So you had to either get big or get out, was the saying as it goes. And he didn't have enough to get big enough, so he converted the farm to a vegetable operation. That's how he ended up in the sweet potato business. And so I grew up picking purple peas and squash and okra and sweet potatoes, which is where I just left from now, shelling some purple peas for a lady. And then I did like many in the South do. Guess what? We get out of high school and we leave. So we either going to stay with a relative somewhere up north or somewhere, or we're going to the military, or we're going to college. And I chose to go to college, got a job, but I left the area and was gone for 25, 26 years, and we moved back home. So I can't blame anybody for leaving, but I wish more people would return because there is a lot of promise and potential here, but you have to invest in that to make it happen. Yes, ma'am.
How big is the farm?
Now the original farm is still there, but my brother has added on some more land that he's farming. So he's doing some row cropping, doing 25 to 600 acres of.
Did you say 20?
500 to 600 acres of everything but cotton. So he's doing some rice, soybean, corn, wheat, and then we're still growing the vegetables. So we got this year about almost 80 acres of squash.
Wow.
Which is a lot of squash.
That's a lot.
Because it's all hand-picked. And sweet potatoes.
So was that adjacent to the original farm or is it in another location?
No, the only thing that's on the farm, the original farm this year is my sweet potatoes and we got some purple peas.
So did you come here and purchase purple haul or you just don't sell to?
I've just been selling them. We don't have a whole lot of them. I've just been selling them. But the purple, the sweet potatoes, everything I got, it's only 12 acre sweet potatoes, but everything that I did this year that comes out of the ground, I've been using here.
But you rotate crops?
We do. Last year they were in Rhonda, which is where I grew up. But this year we got them there. And we can keep on that land for 3 years. And then we'll rotate. So next year.
Are these okra?
Yep, they are. These, there's only one Cooper in the state of Arkansas, and it's in Hot Springs.
Okay.
The problem with the one in Hot Springs, he only goes up to like 25, 30 gallon barrels. But the 53 gallon barrels come out of Kentucky. I got some out of South Carolina, and some out of Missouri.
I understand that the older they are, the better the product that you produce eventually.
Yeah, the longer you leave them in the barrel.
Yes.
Because when it goes in, it's got to stay there at least 2 years. But I'll tell you about the bourbon here in a minute. Aged barrel.
Yes.
So she asked me a question as we were walking, like, how did you get the whole idea, the whole concept of really wanting to do sweet potato with vodka? Why would you do that? So I told you one of my brothers stayed here and farmed with my dad. And they would go to these vegetable conferences every couple of years, just to keep up with what's going on in the vegetable industry. And that year, they came back, and my brother, he's kind of an excitable dude anyway, he came back and was talking about all the stuff they were doing with sweet potatoes in North Carolina. And he said, anything that you could think be made out of sweet potatoes, they were making. Fries, tots, tarts, anything. And so he was excited about the pies, but he told me that there was a guy that had a table with some sweet potato vodka. And I got really intrigued by that whole idea that we could make some vodka out of our sweet potatoes. And he, like, now, I don't know about all that, but man, these pies, amazing. Yeah. So I started researching and doing the internet and trying to find some people in the country that was doing sweet potato vodka, and I found two more. There was one in California, and there was one the guy from New Jersey, Naughty Spirits. But I wanted to try and figure out whether I could really do this, do it at scale, make a living, build a brand. And my wife let me spend some, I bought a little test deal, so she let me buy that, and I was doing it in the garage and kind of playing around. I started applying for it, the license for it, and I got a little nervous, I'll be honest with you. I called the state EBC and said, listen, I'm already in the process of applying for my license to do this. I didn't tell them I was doing it. I said, if a fellow is doing this.
Just in case.
Yeah, my friend. How would that go? And she said, listen, what'd she say? This is not 1933. You're fine to do it as long as you're not trying to sell it. You can start selling, then you get in my business. And I ain't collecting taxes on that. And I said, okay, so I feel a bit better. You're already going through the process, so keep going. I had to get the federal license first, then the state, and then the local license. Actually, the local license is actually pretty tough because the local community can shut you down if they don't want you to have distillery in their community. So fortunately, they didn't have a problem, but they didn't know that I was going to be a problem, or I was going to be here either because it was during COVID. So when I had to go to the city council, one of those meetings was on Zoom. and I had to post it on the door, and I mean, everybody was hunkered down, trying to stay alive, right? But I was in here working and renovating this place, and it took a lot to get this place out and really get it. Yeah, I told you about my brother, and that's the whole idea, and then I started just saying, okay, I'm gonna do it. And then my wife is the one who really pushed me off the ledge because
Takes a woman.
yeah. I wanted to make sure that it was right. Maybe I got into a little bit of paralysis, with that analysis. And she pushed. She said, "What's the worst that can happen?" And I won't tell you guys the phrase that she used, but it's like you're gonna do it or you're not gonna do it.
Right.
But
Get off the pot.
Yeah. But she said, "What's the worst that can happen if you don't make it? You always go back to work. You're young enough, you go find a job. You'll be okay." So yeah, that's the first. But anyway, we bring in sweet potatoes from the farm. We dig in October, September, October. We dig sweet potatoes, and then we'll put them in a drying house and dry them out, and then drop the temperature like 60 degrees, between 55 and 60 degrees, and that hold for almost a year. So sweet potatoes we use it now. We've dug last fall.
Wow.
And we'll dig this year, and there'll be sweet potatoes for next year, for 26.
You always bring enough?
I don't. Last year, I ran out in September, and we didn't dig in October, so I had to buy sweet potatoes for a month. This year, I've already run out, so I'm buying sweet potatoes from Chastain, which is another local farmer here in this county.
He's loving that.
Yeah, but that's another local farmer.
Right.
And the sweet potatoes are coming out of this county, and
Right.
this soil, so I'm good with that.
Well, and that's the something good about you too.
Yes.
Because you're obviously selling enough.
Yeah. So that's a good point because I forecasted how many I think we're going to do for 2026. So I'm hoping I got enough potatoes in the ground that come out. But if I don't, then that is a good problem. That means I've sold more than what I forecasted, which you're never ever going to get the forecast on a bullseye. It's never going to get exactly right. The gin has two basic ingredients, the corn and wheat. And then the Arkansas Brown, the bourbon product, has 4 ingredients: the corn, the sweet potatoes, the rye, and the barley. And we put it right on the label. The only 2 ingredients we don't grow, which would be the rye and the barley. So this is a bulk product. This is barley, which you guys have seen barley. And then this is a rye, which doesn't look like a rye. Looks to me, you guys are going to say the same thing. It looks like an oatmeal.
It looks like oatmeal.
So that's a rolled rye.
It looks like a rolled oatmeal.
Yep. So all the grain gets ground in that mill grinder,
Oh, wow.
and then the sweet potatoes
They put all of it in that grinder.
Yeah, all of it goes in that grinder, and we grind it, catching these yellow toast. And right now, it doesn't look like anything fancy, but I can tell you this: we didn't have that when we started.
So this cleans the potatoes.
No, my wife put the corn separate, and then when we do the whiskey, we do all 3 grains. We do the corn, the rye, and the barley together, and they get fermented together. The initial distill is together, and then the corn and the sweet potato go in together to make the vodka. The corn and wheat go in to make the gin, and then the grain gets all 3 of them. And then the bourbon gets all 3 of them, the brown gets all 3 of them.
Well, that's a whole lot.
And then the grain takes 6 or 7 days to fully ferment. And you can tell when it stops fermenting because the temperature will drop, and then the solids really will drop to the bottom. You kind of have this liquid on top, and you got alcohol.
So how do you move from one to the other?
So there's a valve at the bottom of that tank over there. There's a valve at the bottom of this one. We hook the pump and the hose to it, so we go bottom to bottom, top to bottom. So we go bottom to here, to the bottom of that tank, and move to the copper pot.
Copper pot.
When it's done fermenting, you now have water, mash, and alcohol because the sugar has been converted to alcohol. And then we move it to the copper pot, and then you want to separate the alcohol come out over here, the water and the mash stays over there. So we turn the boiler on, and then bring this to a slow boil. Bring that mash to a slow boil because it's a temperature differential and actually the temperature is separated. This distillation column will do the final separation. Water starts to boil at 212 degrees Fahrenheit, 100 degrees Celsius, right?
Right.
So alcohol starts to boil sooner than that. 173 degrees, alcohol will start to boil. So when that pot gets like 180, 85 degree water molecules with it too. So this distillation power separates the water molecules it allows the water to drop out and the alcohol to turn to gas and rise up and then come over here and it hits this cold water condenser, converts that hot gas back to a liquid. So what you can't see behind these glass tray bulbs there is a copper tray. And it's got a hole in the middle, but it's also got these little upside down kind of teacups thing. And that alcohol gas will hit that tray. That tray will get hot enough and it will boil off the alcohol. The water will drop out and drop through the hole and come back into the tank. It will go up to the next tray. That alcohol on the next tray will get hot enough, it'll boil the gas off, the water will drop out. So every tray it goes up, it has less water in it and more concentrated alcohol. Right? We get about 60 gallons of stripping alcohol off of a pot. When we do vodka, which is the most crowded aisle really still in the store, 90+% of the vodka in there is going to be 80 proof. It's just standard government proof. This is 86, and that's intentional, and not just because we want to pay more in taxes, because you pay by the proof gallon when you produce alcohol. But it's 86 because one, my wife and I graduated high school from Mariana together in 1986. You guys know where Mariana is?
Yeah, we know where
Yeah.
Of course, I grew up in Rondo, but she grew up in town. So she thinks she's a city girl. But anyway, we graduated together in 86. But I also told you my granddad bought our farm out of sharecropping in 1949. But did I tell you how many acres it was? I have told you.
86 acres.
Yep, so that's it. That's intentional. Sweet potatoes, we put that on there. It wasn't on the very first label that we released, but we put it on there because, like I said, it is a very crowded aisle when you go down the vodka aisle. So if you can do anything to get a little bit of attention, maybe that'll catch them, see sweet potatoes and ask themselves, what are these guys
What
doing?
the heck?
What do you think they do?
Yeah.
Right?
from the other.
Yeah, and then maybe they'll rotate it to the left or to the left and see that, hit that QR code and look us up, or to the right and see that medallion. That is an award from the San Francisco World Spirits Competition.
Wow.
So San Francisco is the largest spirit competition in the world. There are a whole lot of spirit competition, but this is the largest one. And they get entrants, thousands of entrants from all over the world. And the highest award that you can win in a year is double gold, which means, let's see, all of you guys are judges, and all of you guys gave the product a gold medal, which means I earned double gold. But if most of you guys gave it a gold, then some of you guys gave it something less than gold, I still got a gold medal, but I didn't
Get a double gold.
So we got double gold in 22, 23, and then last year when we got double gold in 24, they told us that it doesn't happen often, but you guys earn platinum status. So this is a platinum status.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Okay, I will.
There we go.
Yeah. And then this is the gin, and tall cotton is a term from 2 generations ago. You know, stepping in tall cotton.
They didn't say stepping,
Yeah,
but they did something in tall cotton. They weren't stepping.
I know. And you know, cotton is processed in a gin. So that's kind of double entendre in the meaning there. And we haven't even entered this in any competitions, but this gin, when people taste our gin against others, they say, we have been sleeping on you guys' gin. This is an amazing gin. And I came really close to not wanting to do a gin at all because my son said we need to have a gin in our lineup. And I said, listen, not everybody drinks gin, and you can mess up a gin. I've had some bad gins before. So I said, if we're going to do one, let's do something that's light, that makes an excellent gin and tonic, but it gives a little bit of a citrus note to it. So that's our gin. And then I had to put some Arkansas cotton back there.
I see it.
Our annual conference this year up in Bentonville, and they wanted to have something from Arkansas, different products from Arkansas.
Right.
So they have our label on the front, and then the back has got the Arkansas Department of Agriculture logo in the back of the label integrated with that cotton. So, so we just got our first order this week, so we're really excited about that video going out there. Yeah. So now let me tell you about this product. This is my granddad's story told in a bottle. So we started at the very top. Bought the farm in 1949. We have that right there. I think it took resilience and ingenuity to do that. We have that on the neck label. This is my granddad's story, how he bought the farm with his cotton and moonshine in a paragraph, and this is my granddad's signature.
Oh.
So the marketing firm out of Little Rock was able to get my granddad's signature off of the wheel. He left the wheel, which is good. We all should be leaving wheels, trusts, or something for our folks. But they were able to get his signature off and put it on the label. And underneath it says first generation landowner. On the front, we've already talked about this is Arkansas Brown. I can't call it, you won't see bourbon whiskey anywhere on here. But the proof on this is 106. My granddad was born December 2nd, 1906. So we made the proof after my granddad. And then the last thing on here, you can't see it. I don't know if anybody's got a flashlight, but on the back of this label, you can see my granddad's portrait.
Oh.
Yeah, let me see if I can get my flashlight to come on because
You have such symbolism in all of your products.
And that is such a awesome thing.
can you see it now?
Yes.
Yeah, he's back
Yes.
there.
Oh, yeah.
He is back there. Oh my gosh, that is awesome in itself.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so genius there said, listen, not everybody drinks high proof. This is over 100 proof. Not everybody drinks, so we need to get a version that's less than 100 proof. So we got this one, came up with this idea of Founders Edition. So it still has my granddad's story on the side, right? And it's got my wife and I's signature under there as co-founders. And then the proof is 96, which is less than 100 and makes it more palatable for the common average everyday drinker. And of course, the 96 is his birth year. He had to get himself integrated in there sometime. And then on the back, it's got a photo of my wife and I when we were 17 and 18.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
I see it. I see it.
I love the creativity of
When you finish the tour, you're given a taste of all of their products. This is Globee, and I'm home from my trip to the Delta Dirt Distillery, and I just wanted to share with you my haul from that distillery. I got a t-shirt. Naturally, it says Delta Dirt Distillery, established in 2017, and I really like the front because the front says, you say sweet potato, I say vodka. And another thing that I got I liked all the spirits that they had, but my favorite was the sweet blend vodka. Like I said, they let you taste everything, but this was my favorite. I hope you get a chance to take a tour. If not, you can order online. And if you order online, please let me know in the comment section what your favorite spirit was. And they also give you, if you visit, they give you this cute little tote bag to carry your alcohol. Again, thank you for watching and traveling with me at Glow Beach Travels.